The fire in him was already swelling, burning through the fragile tethers of his self-control. The other vampire suddenly lifted his head from where he'd been feeding at the woman's neck. He drew in a sharp breath through his nose, then grunted, animalistic, alarmed.
"Someone is here."
"What did you say?" she murmured, still drowsy from his bite as he sealed her wound with his tongue, then shoved her away from him. She staggered forward, huffing a couple of choice curses under her breath. The instant her sluggish gaze lit on Reichen, a scream ripped from her throat. "Oh my God!" Feeling his eyes smoldering with the amber fire of his rage, his fangs tearing through his gums in readiness of the fight to come, Reichen took a single step out of the shadows. The woman screamed again, hysteria rising in her wild, panicked eyes. She looked to her companion for protection, but the vampire had no further use of her. With a callous sweep of his hand, he knocked her out of his way and stalked forward. The blow sent her careening to the floor. "Hans!" she cried. "Oh God, what's going on?" Hissing, the vampire faced his unexpected intruder and crouched into an attack stance. Reichen had only a moment to cast a quick glance at the confused, terrified human.
"Get out of here."
He sent a mental command that unlocked the bedchamber's doors and swung them open.
"Leave, female, now!"
As she scrambled up from the polished marble beneath her and escaped the room, the Darkhaven vampire leapt into the air in a single fluid arc of motion. Before his feet could touch down, Reichen launched himself at the bastard. Their bodies collided, the explosion of Reichen's forward momentum propelling both of them across the width of the chamber. Fangs huge and gnashing, fierce amber eyes locked on each other in the deadliest kind of malice. Together they crashed like a wrecking ball into the far wall. Bones cracked with the impact, but it wasn't enough for Reichen. Not nearly enough. He threw the struggling, furious breed male to the floor and pinned him there, one knee crushing his throat.
"Ignorant fool!"
roared the vampire, arrogant despite his pain.
"Have you any idea who I am?"
"I know who you are. Enforcement Agent Hans Friedrich Voldemar." Reichen bared his teeth and fangs in a profanity of a smile as he glared down at him. "Don't tell me you have already forgotten who I am." No, he hadn't forgotten. Recognition flickered behind the pain and fear in Voldemar's slitted pupils.
"Son of a bitch, Andreas Reichen."
"That's right." Reichen held the bastard in a gaze so deadly furious it must have burned to hold it. "What's the matter, Agent Voldemar? You seem surprised to see me."
I don't understand. The attack on the Darkhaven this past summer."
The vampire sucked in a choked breath.
"I'd heard no one survived."
"Almost no one," Reichen corrected tightly. And now Voldemar knew why he'd been paid this unexpected visit. There was no mistaking the bleak awareness in the other male's gaze, or the stark fear. When he spoke now, his voice shook a bit.
"I had nothing to do with it, Andreas. You must believe me."
Reichen snorted. "That's what the others said, too." Voldemar started to squirm, but Reichen pressed down harder with his knee planted heavily against the vampire's throat. Voldemar wheezed, trying to raise his hands as the weight began to crush his air channel.
"Please, just tell me what you want from me."
"Justice." With neither satisfaction nor remorse, Reichen grabbed Voldemar's head in his hands and gave a fierce yank. His neck snapped. Then the breed male's head fell back to the floor with a heavy thunk. Reichen exhaled a deep sigh that did little to purge his anguish, or the grief he felt at being alive and alone, the sole survivor, the last of his family line. As he stood and prepared to leave this latest death behind him, a glint of polished glass on one of the room's several mahogany bookcases caught his eye. He stalked over to it, his feet moving automatically, sharpened gaze fixed on the face of his enemy that stared out from within the silver-framed photograph. He grabbed the